The 65th episode of Digimon Ghost Game finally allowed our heroes to step into the digital world, a place that has been teased since episode 1 and is literally the source of all our problems, with something or someone mysteriously sending Digimon from that world to the human world. This was Act 1 for our 3-part finale to a season with minimal story that has been hinting that rewarding payoffs were always just around the corner, so how did the beginning of the end go? First things first, as you've probably already noticed, my voice is shot this week. I don't know if I have like strep throat or something. It's getting better, but bear with me. Also, no sponsor in this video except that I'd like to remind you that I have a second channel, the Digino02. I'll be releasing my Appmon finale video on the Digino02 next week. That'll contain my thoughts on episodes 30 to 52. Really excited to finally get that out, so please subscribe and watch a few videos to help me out. Episode 65, The Black Zone of Death. All digital communication is down around the world, and Hiro learns of a black strain infecting the digital world. We have a debriefing in the warehouse. Angoramon and his club of nomad Digimon have been meeting weekly, with Hokuto and the adorable Terriermon assistant leading the meeting. They don't tell us anything we don't already know though, just a reminder of where things stand basically. We then get the scene from last week's preview of Hiro up at night with the power out, Gumamon and Espinmon sleeping in bed, and Hiro is just staring at the Moon Millenniummon crystal that he kept from a few weeks back. But this is hardly the scene that some theory crafters hoped it'd be. Hiro doesn't make a deal with this god of space and time to reverse the events of the last few episodes or anything like that. He just stares at the crystal and then the scene ends. There are still 2 more episodes for this to pay off, but I've been saying there's still time for X to be paid off for 65 weeks, and it was pretty painful seeing Moon Millenniummon here possibly just being used as one of the many familiar faces this week. We did see a lot of old reformed enemies throughout the world, and if this is Digimon Ghost Game's definition of payoff, just showing old things and going, remember him? I'm very concerned for the finale. Only 4 minutes into the episode, power is temporarily restored due to worldwide backup generators, though the internet is still offline. I found this decision puzzling. Ghost Game chose to abruptly cut its admittedly high stakes in half by saying, actually we changed our mind, the internet is offline, but power is still online. For no real reason. I think the image of the entire globe without power is way darker and cooler. It did allow though for Kiyoshiro to call Emma, who was in America, on the phone. Maybe that's why they did it, and it's cool that she knows what Digimon are because we did loop her in. She tells Kyo about how Digimon are now appearing all over the USA and how we can't hide them anymore. Really cool idea that I would love to see more of, but Ghost Game, for some stubborn reason, absolutely has zero interest in a world where more than 4 or 5 characters know about Digimon. It's puzzling. I don't know why the show wanted to do this, but this is the world that they wanted to build. We get one of the most important scenes of the episode up next, the team and Hiro's dad discussing options into the digital world. It's finally time for an explanation for how Hokuto went there despite Pokemon saying humans would burn up on entry, and this scene was brutal, almost embarrassing to see the characters stumble over multiple bare bones explanations for why the team couldn't go to the digital world sooner. First, Hiro's dad said the Digivices have a built-in feature that lets you go all along. The kids are shocked, so am I. Turns out we could always go, we just didn't know what buttons to press. Then Hiro reminds him that, wait, Pokemon said humans would burn up. So Hokuto says, oh, in my case, my Digivice malfunctioned. That's why it allowed me to go and also teleported the space around me. If you remember, there was that crater in Hiro's house from episode 1. But then Terriermon adds, you can pass through if you're with a Digimon. Okay, except we never saw Hokuto with Terriermon or any other Digimon during his initial trip, so that point is kind of irrelevant. Like, he succeeded without a Digimon, but because it malfunctioned, okay. Hiro's team brings up the burning up again, and then Bagumon says, oh, actually, yeah, I meant to tell you guys, Professor Bokumon was lying about burning up because he thought you weren't ready to go yet, and that the time would come one day when you'd be ready. I'm sure the time Professor Bokumon was referring to has come. This is so frustrating. The main reason we didn't try going sooner was a lie, but also we are drowning in half-baked explanations for why the kids couldn't go sooner and why Hokuto could go, and it feels to me like all these explanations are a little weak and the writers are hoping we'll just accept one of them as a plausible reason. But I think if you had a really strong lore reason, you wouldn't need 3 reasons. Then the whiplash continues when we discover, okay, great, so the Digivice can get us there. We have Digimon, we won't burn up. Oh, but the Digivices aren't working right now because the internet is offline. So that's a 4th reason we can't go. Then Kazuamon shows up and she says she can take us. It's a total mess, guys. I don't know how anyone can defend how this played out. 65 weeks to get to the digital world, and the biggest thing stopping us was a Digimon who lied. So finally we do go, and the scene is pretty cool. Some of the human kids like Nomura are listening from the other side of the door, and I liked all of this, but really this should have happened 30 episodes ago. Upon arrival, first thing we see is a digital world corrupted by the black and purple colors of Gulas Gamamon, though nobody on the team connects the dots and says this looks an awful lot like Gulas' color palette or aura. We wander for a bit. Kyo lands in a bit of a red fog that corrupts him. At first I assumed, as you probably did as well, that this was the same aura causing the black and purple contamination, but no, this red fog he consumed, it's actually not related to the overall plot This red mist is the result of another monster of the week, a black Rafflesimon, who wants to absorb life forms to live forever, I guess. She, of course, has no idea who the voice sending Digimon into the human world is, because why would she? Of course she doesn't. It's not like this is the third last episode of the series. And she gets our Kyoshiro Norded. He tries to trick Jellymon, Ruli, and Angoromon into becoming plant life forms that Rafflesimon absorbs. Now it's Seriousmon versus black Rafflesimon, and he's kind of losing. Hero's inhaling red fog and turns into a plant life form and is absorbed. Seriousmon is backed into a corner when the voice of Gulas comes out and says, yo, if it were me in control, I'd be able to save everyone. We also get weird Gulas eyeballs on Seriousmon white cape or back. I get what they were going for here, but it didn't land for me. I thought it looked a bit silly. My guess is that in the next week, Gulas will pressure Seriousmon to let him come out again, and then Seriousmon will allow it. But here, Seriousmon gets absorbed only for Rafflesimon to immediately burst. Her body can't handle the strange power of the Gamamon line, and she spits him out, then fades away, freeing everyone, including our old friend Saberdramon, that kind of black Birdramon, who tells us that maybe the voice, the one who sent us, is coming from a weird cloud island in the sky that never moves despite the winds. Maybe the one who sent us is there. So we go there, a Bloom Lordmon makes its anime debut, blocks our path, and that's the end of the episode. We have 2 episodes left and still don't have knowledge of who the antagonist of Ghost Game is, who the one sending Digimon to the human world is. I think at this point the writers have put themselves in a very tough spot because it's going to be incredibly hard to make this reveal feel worth the wait. Allowing a mystery to build up for 66 weeks means the pressure for it to pay off is astronomical. It feels to me like when Tri showed the Zero Two gang defeated in the first few minutes of the first Tri movie, then we had 5 more movies where we were waiting and wanting so badly to know what happened there, and then movie 6 paid it off in the most underwhelming way. I don't know what Ghost Game could do at this point with the endgame reveal that won't be incredibly underwhelming. I'm very worried. Keep in mind Black Tailmon is still MIA, and there are 2 episodes left to explain her presence to pay off the very first Ghost Game mystery in addition to the one who sent us, the Gulas stuff. It's probably all connected, so it'll really be one mystery to solve, but yeah, good luck Ghost Game. Prove me wrong, but I don't think they have the storytelling chops to land this plane. Reviewing this episode is tough. It's like being asked how your plane ride was 5 minutes after takeoff. Things could still happen that negatively affect the ride. It's too early to say, but the plane is already experiencing light turbulence and you just hope it gets better, not worse. I thought the 4 attempts at explaining why only now we can go to the digital world were borderline embarrassing, stacking reason after reason and contradicting or at least confusing the reasoning with each new excuse made that scene so incredibly messy. I thought the corrupted digital world and our journey there was visually very cool, but how disappointing is it that the kids haven't even thought to ask if Gulas might be connected to any of this? Like, why do they forget this side of Gamamon exists whenever he's not directly in front of them? They have goldfish memory. And I'm sad that in the third last episode we opted to battle another one-off fill-in of the week instead of answering questions or introducing the final boss. They should have let Dagomon be the final monster of the week last week. That would have been a great final monster for this whole formula. If we were just going to fight more monster of the week enemies when we got to the digital world, then we really should have come to the digital world 30 episodes ago. I don't think I'll ever agree with the pacing and the story decisions of Ghost Game, sadly. Very nervous going into episodes 66 and 67. We still know practically nothing. Also, all the talk last week about the digital world disappearing, Mamimon literally said it felt like the world disappeared, Kieta in Japan. Not true, just a misunderstanding. It's still here, just corrupted. So the winds are out of the sail there too. The show just can't keep it straight. Sorry it went down this way, everybody. 2 weeks to go. Anything is possible, but it's not a strong start to the end. Thanks for watching. Head to the Digino02 and subscribe. I'll put a link in the description. Watch a couple videos to help me get to 4,000 watch hours if you can. Have a great week. See you in the next video.